Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. This weekend, over the last 3 days, we're live here at 6:33 Eastern Time on a Sunday night. In the last 72 hours, Kentucky has 48 hours, I guess. Kentucky has picked up not one, but two commitments. But worth noting, one of their lead assistants, Cody Feger, who came with Mark Pope from BYU to Kentucky, he just put out the GIF that insinuates that more good news is coming for Kentucky. So as of right now, they add two more players. They're up to 5 scholarship guys. They got enough to play 5-on-5. I want to break it all down. And then obviously, if we get a piece of news, I will break that down as well. But let's go ahead and start with the big news of the weekend. First of all, you talk about a big piece of news that broke basically right after we got off air on Thursday. I guess it was really Friday. But Lamont Butler, you talk about, listen, I think this is the most impressive thing that Mark Pope has done as the head coach at Kentucky so far. Let me fully explain why. Lamont Butler enters the portal on Wednesday and is a Kentucky Wildcat by midday Friday. So if you listen to this show, first of all, we talked about Lamont a lot on Thursday night's show. But Lamont is a kid. He's from Riverside, California, about an hour from where I live. I've told the story. First time I saw him, he was 14 years old, playing at Riverside Poly, same high school as Reggie Miller. But I bring it up because I'm going to give you some information on Lamont, and, it's cool. It's nothing super crazy. But he has a very tight circle, okay? And it's not a million agents and friends and family and this and that. He's got 2 great parents. Shout out Lamont Sr., and one basketball person in his circle, and that's the whole circle. There aren't 35 people. You don't have to get to 20 people to get through to him. And so I bring it up, and why this is relevant to Kentucky is for a simple reason. It was because the night he entered the portal, somebody close to him, not his parents, but they reached out to me and we kind of just talked. They said, hey, dude, Lamont's going in the portal. And we just kind of talked about all the different options for him going forward. And I bring it up for this very simple reason. There are so many times in this modern era of college hoops, okay, and college football, where a kid enters the portal and he kind of knows where he's going to go. If we're being honest, he's been tampered with probably for months. And he'll enter the portal and he'll say all the right things and it's wide open and he'll put out his lists and he'll do this and he'll do that. That was not Lamont Butler. When I talked to his people on Wednesday night, they had no idea where they were going. As a matter of fact, Lamont really struggled even with the decision to put his name in the portal. He is a San Diego legend, okay? For people who don't remember, he hit the buzzer beater to send San Diego State to the championship game. He is a true NIL darling, not a collective darling, an NIL darling where everywhere he went in the city, signings, autograph sessions, appearances, this, that, the other thing. And so he really struggled with the idea of, if I enter the portal, is it going to impact my legacy here? I think I'm either going to come back to college or enter the NBA draft. As a matter of fact, I could be wrong, but I believe the head coach of San Diego State, Brian Dutcher, actually said on the record at some point after the season, if Lamont plays college basketball, it's going to be at San Diego State next year. But I bring it all up because he did not enter the portal thinking, I'm going to Duke, I'm going to Kentucky, I'm going to Michigan, I'm going to Indiana. It was, am I even going to enter the portal? And then when he did, he was almost behind the 8 ball because so many teams, Indiana, Houston, whatever, have taken guards and they're not even available to, they don't even have a spot for him. So I bring it up because he was truly entering the portal, not knowing what he's going to do. And that's where I give Mark Pope so much credit, okay? Because when he entered the portal, Kentucky 100% prioritized him, okay? That's not my opinion. That is not something I think, and it's not even something that you need to be an insider in college basketball to know. Why do I say it? It's because let's just use our deductive reasoning. Let's use our brains. It's like that old line from A League of Their Own. Use your head. That's that lump 3 feet above your you-know-what. So let's use our heads. Let's use that lump 3 feet above your A double apostrophe. Okay. Like, think about how we know that Lamont Butler was a priority for Kentucky. He enters the portal on Wednesday night, has had no contact with Kentucky prior to that. By Friday morning, the entire staff got on a plane to fly across country to meet with him and his family. Do you understand that if you are not a priority to a coaching staff, they're not flying across country? And even when you are a priority, you know what ends up happening pretty often? What ends up happening generally is that they send an assistant. They may even send the head coach. For them to send the entire coaching staff, it means that they think the world of you. It means that they want you. And I give credit to Lamont. I don't know all the details of what happened. By the way, I should mention, it was also the busiest weekend of Kentucky's offseason. They had like 5 kids on campus visiting. And so when the whole coaching staff flies across country on one day's notice, when they're bringing in 3, 4, 5 kids for visits, you know that this kid is a priority. What I will also do, let me give Lamont Butler a little bit of credit here, okay? Because Lamont, he made the decision pretty quickly. And to me and Kentucky fans, you're going to love this. You know what this was? This was a professional recruitment. And what do I mean by that, okay? When a player in the NBA is a free agent or the NFL, you don't go, unless you're LeBron James, you don't go visit, the Milwaukee Bucks if they want to sign you. You don't visit the Indiana Pacers, the Toronto Raptors. You sit down in a room as men and as basketball people and say, this is how we're going to use you. This is what we're going to do. This is the position we're going to put you in. And this is how we're going to help you, in the case of college, get to the next level. And so after all the years, Kentucky fans, you complained, you want veterans, you want adults, you want grown men. You got one, because Lamont looked at it all. He said, this is the role that I want. This is the place that I want. This is the stage that I want. Obviously, I'm sure NIL was discussed at some point, but this wasn't about who has the biggest bag. It wasn't about, I got to come see the facilities and I got to tour and I got to do this. No. It was, I'm coming here and I'm coming here right now. I don't need to take more visits or even more meetings. I could tell you for a fact, there was at least one more school that was in Vegas on Friday ready to meet with him. And they had to tell that school, and I won't name the school, but they basically had to tell the school, like, we love you guys. We appreciate you coming out. Meetings are over. Meetings are canceled. This decision has been made. And so looking ahead, what does this kid mean for Kentucky? What it means, pretty straight up, I'm telling you right now. Don't just take my word for it. Lamont Butler is coming to be the starting point guard for Kentucky basketball. He's coming to be the face of Kentucky basketball. He's coming to be the leader of Kentucky basketball in the locker room, in the community, in the this, in the that. And I think he's going to be great. Now, I know what a lot of you are going to say. Well, Torres, he only averaged 9 points per game last year at San Diego State. And I get it. I do. What I would tell you is pretty straightforward, okay? The San Diego State system, I did a little bit of a reaction video on Friday. The San Diego State system is not built for guys to go for 24 and 11, okay? It's just not. And so there are so many guys that have the capability of doing more, but they're a team that plays 8, 9, 10, 11 guys. Nobody's playing 36 minutes a game. This year, Jaden Ledee did because they had no depth in the front court, but that's a system where nobody's putting up monster stats. And so I solely bring it up to very simply say, just go back and look at Keyshawn Johnson last year, who played at Arizona. Because I remember getting in this argument with Kentucky fans a year ago. Kentucky fans were like, oh, Keyshawn Johnson's coming to be a backup, come off the bench. He did it at San Diego State. He'll do it here. No. Keyshawn Johnson was going somewhere to be a starter after being a backup for 4 years at San Diego State. And he went to Arizona, and he played like an All-American for a good chunk of the year, and he was all Pac-12 this year, averaged 12.5 points per game after averaging 7 at San Diego State. Lamont's the same way. He averaged 9 points, 3 assists per game. That's not going to blow you off the page. But put him in Mark Pope's system, put him with better shooting, put him in a faster pace. Oh, he's going to put up stats. Now, is he a 21-a-game guy? No, he's not, because that's not what he's going to be asked to do. It's not what he wants to do. But do I think he can be a 16-point-a-game guy, 15-point-a-game guy, and that assist number goes from 3.5 assists to 5.5 assists when you're hitting wide-open three-point shooters? Yeah, I think you can. When you're throwing lobs to Amari Williams, the kid who committed last week? Yeah, I think you can. So credit to Mark Pope. He got this done. Lamont Butler will be your starting point guard day one, Kentucky next year. I saw so much of this is like, well, I mean, San Diego State, blah, blah, and this and that. Listen, he's coming there to be the starting point guard. He turned down, remember, I put out the list on Thursday. Duke reached out. Washington, whatever. A lot of schools reached out. He's not coming there to be a backup. I saw people say, oh, is he even a point guard? Yes, he's a point guard. He got his team to a Final Four 2 years ago. He got him back to a Sweet 16 this year after they lost all but one other key player. Lamont Butler is special. He'll be a fan favorite. Kentucky, you got a good one. You know who else you got? Another good one. By the way, we're waiting on potential more recruiting news as Cody Fiegler, the assistant coach, just put out a gift. So I'm just trying very quickly to make sure that I haven't missed any news. But I bring it up very simply to say that even if we don't get the news during this show, in addition to Lamont Butler, Kentucky picked up a second commitment on Saturday, and that is OTEGA OWEH, the 6'5" guard from Oklahoma. Now, OTEGA OWEH is another one. First of all, 6'5", as I said, very athletic, and did hit a lot of three-pointers this year. Averaged 11 points per game, 6'5" from Jersey, averaged 11 points per game, 38% shooting from three. Now, I'd been told this was coming. He was on campus last weekend visiting, and I think he basically silently committed on Thursday or Friday. I think he knew that the staff was traveling on Friday, so they waited till Saturday to announce it. But this is another really good piece for the Kentucky Wildcats. It was funny. I remember I interviewed Porter Mosier about 2 off seasons ago when this kid was going into his freshman year. I went back and found my notes from that call. Porter Mosier raved about that guy. 6'5", super athletic. I think the big thing to me, that shot has come around. 38% shooting from three in just 24 minutes of play. And this is the kind of guy, 3-level scorer, can shoot threes, can get to the rim. Now, the free throw shooting needs to get better. Shot 64% from three. I don't know how you shoot 38% from three and 64% from the free throw line, but just another really nice piece. But you know what I like about this kid? And you know why I think he's going to be very important for Kentucky? It is because here is why I like this kid and what he means to Kentucky. It's because when I look at this kid, just think about it like this, okay? If this kid wasn't good, you know how I know he wouldn't be at Kentucky? Because you know who's played him in person, and you know who knows his game better than anybody? Mark Pope. Mark Pope was at BYU last year. Where is BYU? In the Big 12. Where was Oklahoma last year? They're going to the SEC this year, but they were in the Big 12. This is a guy that played against Mark Pope earlier this year. Had a pretty good game. Wasn't great in those matchups, but I bring it up because Mark Pope is familiar with his game, and Mark Pope saw him in person, scouted against him, evaluated him, and said, you know what? We like him. Oh, by the way, you know who Kentucky's associate head coach is? Alvin Brooks III. Where did he come from? Baylor. So I bring it up because if Alvin Brooks likes him, and if Mark Pope likes him, that means that he's good enough to play Kentucky. Congrats to Kentucky. 2 big-time commits, 5 players total. And I like the pieces that have come in. We've talked about Amari Williams, talked about Colin Chandler, the kid who took the mission trip at BYU, who's now transferring as a third-year freshman. And we certainly know about Travis Perry, the former Kentucky State Player of the Year. I think the only question is, what's next? Cody Fiegler is tweeting about stuff. Oh, by the way, a bunch of kids on campus. Andrew Carr, 6'8", from Wake Forest. He had some other visits lined up. I don't have any inside information as of 6:47 Eastern time. Wouldn't surprise me if he's the guy averaged 14 points, 7 rebounds, and 37% shooting from three. That's that stretch 4 that you need. You got Amari Williams down low, big, athletic, but he's not a super offensive player. He's more of a garbage, rebounding, energy, hustle, get your points around the rim guy. Wouldn't be surprised if it's Andrew Carr. Also, Great Osabor on campus. Great Osabor, one of the best bigs in college basketball, was the Mountain West Player of the Year. He is set to visit, I believe, this evening. I think I saw Jack Pilgrim put that out at some point. So Great Osabor on campus. Andrew Carr was on campus this week. There were a couple other guys too. You know, Davion Smith, I don't think is a factor at Kentucky anymore, the Utah point guard with Lamont Butler. But I just bring it up to say good stuff overall as Kentucky adds 2 guys.